This is the 100-mile room. And basically the deal in this room is just to talk about range. So there are three things I get asked all the time. It is, how far can I go in the car? How much will heat and air conditioning affect my range? And what happens if I run out? Usually. So I will try to answer those three questions for you. Here it is. In the car, the 100-mile number is an average. But the truth about range is that it fluctuates. So realistically, the range spread will be anywhere from about 65 to 70 miles at the lowest end to about 130 to 140 miles at the highest end. The reason it fluctuates so much is because it all depends on how fast you drive and what climate controls you're using. So what I mean by that is, when you're going to get about 140 miles or so is when you are in city driving, stop and go traffic, lower speeds. Like if you were driving around downtown Charlotte all day doing 30, 35 miles an hour in stop and go traffic, you'd easily hit 130 to 140 miles. If you speed up some, let's say you're doing 55. We just had a reporter take a car from Nashville to Jack Daniel's Distillery and back, which is a 116-mile trip. And that reporter made the trip doing 55 with the air on and came back with about 10 miles remaining. So at speeds of about 55 and below, you're going to get over 100 miles. If you crank it up to freeway speed and you're doing, let's say, 80 miles an hour with your heater cranked, that's when you're going to get the lowest end of the range. Because high-speed driving combined with high use of your heater will use the most energy. Heat uses more energy than air conditioning in this car, so that'll impact your range more. Air conditioning, fortunately, it's only about 10% or so that you lose on a really hot day running your air. Heat can be more substantial. It can be about 25% of your range on a very cold day. So what we're doing to combat that, in this area, we will have the option for heated seats and a heated steering wheel. The idea is if your back is warm and your hands are warm, hopefully you won't need quite as much of your resistance heater, and then you won't lose as much range because the seat heaters won't take up nearly as much power as actually running your resistance heater. So that's the deal with range. Last question I always get is what happens if you run out? If you run out, number one, roadside assistance is free for 3 years. At the beginning, we would tow you to a charging station. But in the very, very near future, companies like AAA will have generator trucks. And they'll just come out and plug you in, charge you up for 15, 20 minutes, and then you'll be on your way again. So you won't have to wait for 8 hours before you start driving your car again. So then, at that point, it won't be so much worse than if you were to run out of gas. But the truth is, I highly doubt that any of you will ever run out. And the reason I say that is not because you won't want to go farther. It's because the car literally nags you from 18 miles down to the bottom to recharge it. Actually asks you out loud to plug it in somewhere. It asks if it can route you to a charging station. Your GPS will automatically start pulling up charging stations that you pass and asking if you would like to be routed there. And lastly, when you get down to about 5%, the car goes into a range extender mode where it will actually govern your acceleration some. It'll govern your top speed at about 68 miles per hour. It'll pull back some on your heat and air conditioning. It'll do everything it can to try to extend your range. And I promise you will notice. If nothing else, you will at least notice that your charge is getting low and you'll stop somewhere to charge it up. So hopefully none of you guys will run out, but if you do, it's okay. That's what roadside assistance is for.
So basically, if you run out, you're in the middle of nowhere and you're an idiot.
I can't say that.
I will.
But probably you won't ever drive to the middle of nowhere in this car. That's the thing, because why would you? You can only go 100 miles or so before you have to recharge. So you're not going to drive out to the middle of some national park with no charging and then, you know, expect to make it back. That's the truth. So the last thing to show you guys is this tool. This is an awesome tool, and actually whoever used it last, this is a great day they planned out. Basically what this tool is called is the 100-mile tool. What it allows you to do is put in your typical day of driving and see whether or not 100 miles would be enough for you. This is available for all of you online. It's on the website on your yellow wristband, so you can go there and try it out. But this person used Charlotte. So here's downtown Charlotte. And gosh, where did this person even start? This is a crazy day. I don't see their home. I'm going to try using one of your zip codes. What's your zip code?
28227.
All right. 28227.
Correct.
Perfect. So would you mind helping me out with this? Excellent. What's your name?
Jim.
Jim. Okay, Jim. So here's your house. Or where's your house? Is this the right area? You can move this if you want. You should drag it around. Perfect. Okay, great. So what do you do on an average day of driving? Where do you go?
Drive straight downtown.
Okay, perfect. So way over downtown?
Correct.
Okay, and then what?
Then drive back home.
That's a good answer. Drive back home. Well, maybe you're gonna, okay, let's say you're gonna go back home, and maybe you're gonna pick up your wife and go have dinner. Okay, so you're going back home, and then where would you go for dinner?
Concord Mills, of course.
Concord Mills. Let me see if I can figure out how to get there. I don't live here.
Oh.
Concord, is that right?
That's it.
Is that about the right area?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's right. Okay, so you're going up to Concord Mills for dinner, and then we'll say that you're going to go back home after dinner. So let's just say that this is your typical day of driving. Perfect. What this does is uses Google Maps. It keeps track of your driving range. So this is showing you from A to B to C up to D and back down to your house, how many miles you would have left. So you would actually have 13 miles left. So you actually are kind of right at the top of the range, depending on obviously your heat and air conditioning and stuff like that. But the great thing is, downtown Charlotte already has charging stations, and they're saying they're going to put in 50 more by the end of this year in the city, and those will be free, all free to use. So if you wanted to while you're working, you could easily park in structure with the charging station and charge up your car. Or I'm sure it's only a matter of time until Concord Mills puts in charging stations. Eventually malls will put it as well. But that's great. That's exactly what this is for. So if this was truly the kind of drive you did on a daily basis, then you could make a decision if you want to recharge downtown, or if maybe the car doesn't have quite enough range for you yet, that's okay too. So that's really what this tool is for, is to kind of figure that out. So that's great. So that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to learn you